Tatum's played at MVP level right now.
Right.
How has it been watching him continually get better every year? You know what I mean?
It's been incredible. Seeing the growth of not only just JT, but JB and even Smart year over year, and seeing how much they've improved, not only just talent-wise, but just their approach and their professionalism, how they treat people with respect, how they've always been very respectful guys, but like being able to like communicate with others, being able to trust one another, like that stuff has to grow, you know? Mm-hmm. When you first come into the league, everyone's trying to, be themselves, prove themselves and everything else. And now I think they're so secure of one another and so secure of this team that they know that they can talk to however one another the right way and how to approach one guy versus the other. Like, it's just so much that goes into the sport of basketball behind the scenes that people don't really give credit for. And I want to give them big shouts out for that.
Jaylen's been unbelievable this year. Do you feel like Jaylen and Jayson are getting left off of some of these lists for best duos in the league?
Absolutely. They're the best duo in the league, in my opinion.
I think so too. And I'm a Lakers fan.
Yeah.
And so that seems crazy to me that people are putting, I love AD and LeBron, but
yeah, I know.
They're both
I'm looking at LeBron and AD like these dudes is old as shit now.
Right. Yeah,
they're both having career years.
Yeah.
JT, in my opinion, has been the MVP from the start of the season. Like, he's been that electric of a player.
I'm from St. Louis, so that's music to my ears.
You know?
I love hearing that.
And then JB's playing at all-NBA level. Like, when you look at the guys who are in the same conversation, I wish all-NBA wasn't positional.
Right.
But
it
like,
should be.
These guys, like, when you look at JB, he's been doing stuff that would be, if he was on his own team, he'd be averaging, 30 plus?
Mm-hmm.
yes.
Same way JT, like, they were each on their own team, they'd be doing, and they're doing this stuff together.
Crazy.
Like, normally when you look at duos, like you look at Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell, like, they're both doing really well. I think they both deserve the credit that's respected. But like Shea and these guys who are on their own team, yeah, you can get 35 points. But like at the same time, like, these dudes are doing it and winning at a high level. Mm-hmm. Shea has too, but like, I'm trying to think of somebody who hasn't, like, where they're on the lesser team and they may get an All-NBA nod in years past. I know Trey did it 3 years ago when the Hawks were like 8 and 20.
Yeah, rough year.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Right.
He did go crazy, so you got to give him the credit. But like, these two have been playing at such a crazy level that you have to like give them that credit and that deserve. And if they keep it up, I think they both deserve to be not only just the MVP, but also All-NBA team, both of them.
Let's go back to last year, man. Y'all were 23 and 24 to start the season. People kind of wrote y'all off. A lot of people in the square media were basically like, oh, that duo's not going to work together. They need to trade Tatum. They need to trade Brown, whatever it may be. So I want to know, was there a specific point or moment, like maybe a players-only meeting or something like that, where y'all just got the ship right and we're like, all right, man, we can go do this shit?
Honestly, no. We when you look at that record, I remember I looked back in that first half of the season, we always were up in games. We just ended up losing them. We were about 18 against Chicago going into the fourth quarter with like 7 minutes left, and we ended up losing. So like stuff like that, we just weren't playing the right type of basketball. When we got close to the deadline, we went on like a 7-game win streak right before we lost to I think it was the Pistons, but back then. And then after that, we made some trades and then we just kept that wave rolling, and everyone was writing us off, talking about trade JT, trade JB, all that stuff, and they can't work together. And we never believed that. Like, we knew that they played well together. We knew that as a team, we just needed to commit, buy in. Because, like, you got a new head coach, you got a whole new team. Like, it's all these things that you have a little bit of a rough patch to start. But then once you got over that, we ended up being one of the best teams in the league, if not the best. So I think that's where we've just caught and carried that into this season.
How much do y'all hang out with each other off the court? I mean, you mentioned you play board games. You playing board games on the team playing, and I want to know who's the most competitive guy on your team outside the basketball court playing games, video games, whatever it may be.
Honestly, it just depends on what game we're playing. So, like on the plane, you have guys play cards and stuff like that. Like when I want like a board game night, it's like Sam Hauser, Luke, and like guys like that, where like you can play any type of board game and be comfortable, like categories, stuff like that.
They're not cheating. Everybody's respecting the rules.
Respectfully, I haven't caught anybody yet.
Okay.
But,
You looking for it though?
Looking for it.
Let me know.
My eyes out,
You feel me?
You know who
that third eye open.
I've seen Smart cheat in a couple board games before. I've definitely seen that.
What have you seen? What board game have you seen Marcus Smart cheating? I gotta know.
He cheated in Catan one time. I was like, bro.
Damn.
What is that? Know dang well. It's
Catan, great game.
Yeah, you have to learn about it. I was about to say. It's one of those, he took like 4 resources. I'm like, bro, you don't have a settlement on that number, bro. Like, what are we doing?
That sounds smart.
That's right. Smart.
It's a real estate game. His namesake.
Blake Griffin joined the team this year. He's kind of notorious for messing with guys, done some stand-up comedy. How's it been having him in the locker room?
Man, he's one of the best teammates I ever had, man. Like, he's gotten that label already, and it's been, 20-something games. Like, he's one of those vets that he knows where he is now. Like, he knows the career that he's on. He knows he has one goal to accomplish, and he gives you crap. You like, he's a guy that naturally can just talk trash. He does impersonations, so he does Peyton Pritchard better than anyone I've ever seen. He's like, hey, yo, BG. What's up, BG? So like stuff like that, where it's like keeps the locker room light. He's a guy that like, he always jokes like, we were talking about people getting dunked on. And I was like, yeah, I've been dunked on a couple times in my career. Like, you know, Sabonis got me most recently last game or whatever else when we played the Kings. He was like, yeah, like, I was like, dang, BG, like, how many guys have you, like, dunked on in this locker room? He's like, you know, man, I just, you know, I don't dunk no more. I just try my best. You know, I caught Rob twice last year, nothing like that. But, like, he would just say slick stuff like, don't throw jazz. He's a straight guy. He's like, and Peyton was like, didn't you dunk on Gallo? And he's like, yeah, you know, I'm not like Peyton, get out the way of everybody. But, like, yeah, I definitely dunked on Gallo. Like I said, dang, you really have dunked on a lot of people. Yeah. He's like, yeah, one day you'll get there, brother. Like, one day. He'll just say, like, slick stuff where you're like, all right, man, BG, go somewhere. But he's the man.
So you brought up Joe, youngest head coach in the NBA at like 34.
Mm-hmm.
After everything that happened this summer, you know what I mean? What did he do to get y'all to buy in, you know, to his philosophy?
I think guys were already bought in just because, like, when Joe got promoted to the interim position or head coach, whatever you want to call it, like, we've been familiar with Joe over the past 4 years. Like, he's been with us since when Brad was here. And he's always been a guy that's kind of been quiet, you know, kind of like he talks to people on the side, but like everyone respected Joe for his approach and how he operated. And like, think about it, like when other staffs would call about, hey, can we hire Joe Mazzulla, Brad and Danny would be like, no. they all knew what was going
for
on.
Sure. Knew what time it was.
So I think when he got the head coaching job, I think he sat down with every single player individually. And that's something that you don't necessarily see every head coach do in the league. Not only just ask how I can be better for you, but how can you be better for us and how can I get the best out of you? And that's something you got to respect as a head coach to be able to do and not feel uncomfortable having difficult conversations. And as much as like I've been around, like Ime was the same way. That's why we loved Ime too. Like, it was an incredible transition. And for Joe, he's been very, very detailed and rigorous in his approach. He's been challenging us every single day and just telling us, he's like, you guys are the best team in the NBA. Now, are you guys going to be humble and appreciate that and like approach it the right way and come in every day with the right mentality? Or are you guys going to come in and say, okay, we can just take this game off and be this team that, you know, up and down and not really care about winning and stuff like that? Like, you have to have that hunger, remember where we were. And remember what moment you're trying to get back to and what you're trying to accomplish.
Past summer, I know you and the Celtics were talking about an extension. Didn't get a deal done. You said you were disappointed about that. Naturally, I would be too. I'm a man who loves bags. Who doesn't? You may know.
Who doesn't?
Who doesn't?
Yeah.
But just want to know, do you feel like that was a blessing in disguise, not getting that extension? Then you're having obviously the best season of your career. You're doing your thing we talked about before the show, but I want to say your true shooting percentage somewhere around like the 71, 72% range. They got all these bullshit minimums and shit. I'm not an analytics nerd by any stretch of the imagination, but without those restrictions, I think you'd be number one in the league. So do you feel like that was a blessing in disguise now to be able to perform this season and now tell them to bring me my money come next offseason?
Yeah, I think that they were comfortable with that in the first place because they knew what type of person I am and the approach I was going to the season with. I think that from organization, you just have to do your best to protect and to take what you can, you know, because for some players, you know, they would give in. They'd be like, all right, like, I'll take this. This is life-changing money. Like, who cares if it's like you're missing out on this, you know? But for me, it was like I always challenge myself to do more and challenge myself to be better. And coming into the season, I said, no matter what I'm going to do, I knew that I'm going to just improve on what I've done and try and be the best player and person I can be this year, and especially as a teammate, and not let it affect it. Because some guys come into it and they approach and they try and do things that aren't necessarily them. And I told the staff, I told the Celtics, I told players, I said, listen, no matter if we get a deal done or not, I'm just going to be me. Mm-hmm. And that's not going to change. And I'm going to try and be the best, not only teammate and everything else I can be, as I always have been. And I think that's where the respect kind of came in, and I've just kind of taken that and ran with it and try to do with everything within my mold and continue to try and help this team win games, because that's the most important goal.